السلام عليكم، أهلا بيكم في another poet of the 18th century. The poet of today is Samuel Johnson. فتعالوا نبدأ مع بعض باك جراوند خفيفة جدا وسريعة، بعدين هنشوف العمل اللي هنتكلم عليه إن شاء الله. Samuel Johnson was born prematurely in 1709 and was not expected to survive childhood. بعد كده في السطر اللي بعده بنقول إن هو he was born with deafness in one ear, blindness in one eye, and facial scarring. Johnson's father was a bookseller, which was quite the advantage when it came to his education. بعد كده في الباراجراف التالي married in 1735, Johnson and his wife moved to London to make a life for themselves. There he carved out a living initially through hack work، بمعنى كتابة whatever asked for him إن هو يكتب، كان بيكتب حسب الطلب، writing whatever was asked of him to get paid. He also helped compile an annotated catalog of Edward Harley's library. His big career break came when he was hired by a group of London booksellers to write the dictionary of the English language. نقدر نقول ان دوت اكتر عمل شهره بالطبع بجانب عمله ككاتب. In 1755, his success on the dictionary, he had only 6 assistants helping him with the Grandals project, led to honorary degrees conferred by Oxford and Trinity College, and George III eventually granted him a pension of £300 per year. Johnson was famous most of his life for his perceived genius and elite speaking skills. Starting out poor and unknown, poor and unknown, he suffered a stroke in 1783 and later died in 1784, well known and admired by many. Johnson is widely acclaimed as a genius, and the scope of his personality threatens to overwhelm his literary contributions. Known first and foremost زي ما قلنا من شوية for his dictionary, Johnson was also an accomplished essayist. Like others of the time, he completed an edition of Shakespeare in 1765 to go along with the lexicography labors. He also produced lives of the English poets and helped formulate the strive for honesty of the modern biography. Broadly stated, Johnson had a wide literary range, writing as a poet, a translator, an essayist, a travel writer, a biographer, an editor, and a critic. In all his writings, Johnson was a keen observer of human nature. Part formalist, part entertainer, Johnson's works were well read by other literary luminaries of his age. العمل بتاعنا النهاردة اللي اخترناه للكاتب سامويل جونسون هو عمل بعنوان Brief to Free a Slave by Samuel Johnson. It must be agreed that in most ages many countries have had part of their inhabitants in a state of slavery. Yet it may be doubted whether slavery can ever be supposed the natural condition of man. It's impossible not to conceive that men in their original state were equal, and very difficult to imagine how one would be subjected to another but by violent compulsion. An individual may indeed forfeit his liberty by crime, but he cannot by that crime forfeit the liberty of his children. What's true of a criminal seems true likewise of a captive. A man may accept life from a conquering enemy on condition of perpetual servitude, but it's very doubtful whether he can entail that servitude on his descendants, for no man can stipulate without commission for another the condition which he himself accepts. His son or grandson perhaps would have rejected. مناسبة هذه الجمل أو مناسبة نقدر نقول عليه مانيفستو هو in 1778 a black servant Joseph Knight brought by his owner to Scotland from Jamaica sued his master for freedom. يعني طلب وأقام دعوة على his master من أجل استرداد حريته. He was probably inspired by the earlier decision in the Somerset case in England, not realizing that Scotland had an independent judicial system. Boswell, despite being an apologist for slavery, became one of Knight's counsels. He asked Dr. Johnson to write a legal brief for him, and this is a short but powerful text. Dr. Johnson was a strong opponent of slavery, and one of his arguments against American colonists was that those who are themselves slave owners have no right So لو احنا شايفين the text begins and ends with an argument that freedom is an unalienable human right. Some people may forfeit it when they commit a crime or become prisoners of war, but doesn't mean their children are doomed to slavery as well. Even if we assume, and that's a big if, probably written with Boswell in mind, that under certain circumstances slavery may be considered necessary, this is not the case, as the plaintiff clearly doesn't want to be and never wanted to be a slave. Having been abducted as a boy from Africa, the laws of Jamaica permit slavery, but that just means the laws of Jamaica are morally wrong. They just persist because the moral right gives way to political convenience. But in this particular case, Britain has nothing to gain or to lose, so it should be quite easy to do the thing which is morally right, which is to abolish slavery. So the whole message behind this text is that no man is by nature the property of another. مفيش إنسان ملكية إنسان. The defendant is therefore by nature free. وبالشكل دوت يكون ال defendant الخاص أو اللي أقيمت عليه